What's up, people? Today we are making a new recipe.
And for our asado, we will also, of course, accompany it with classic beans. I previously left it soaking from one day to the next. And we are going to rinse the beans twice and put them in a casserole. We are going to cook them twice. First, we are going to boil it for about 15 to 20 minutes. For this recipe, I'm going to use this type of cut, which would be strip roast. Always when we buy, I usually like to put a little bit of bone in the stews because it adds a lot of flavor. Around here I have approximately 1.2 kg. I am going to start making relatively smaller pieces. The other thing we are going to do is we are going to remove this little membrane. This is so that the meat doesn't come out too tough. And we do the same with the rest of the meat. And then we are going to season it. We are going to add a touch of salt, a little bit of cumin powder, and also, of course, the inevitable touch of pepper. And for the dressing, of course, we are going to add some vegetables as well. An onion. Which I'm also going to use for the dressing these vegetables. 3 cloves of garlic, pumpkin pepper that I had a little in the refrigerator, yellow chili. Cilantro, almost 1/4 of a bundle, and also some spinach leaves to give it some color. Of course you can use the red bell pepper, the yellow one, any of the options. I had green, so I'm going to use this. As this I am going to take it to liquefy. A few relatively large cuts. We are going to put it directly into the blender cup of this loche squash. I am going to add 2 pieces, approximately 70 or 80 grams. This gives it a lot of flavor. 2 cloves of garlic. We are also going to add, of course, a yellow chili pepper. Whenever I use cilantro, I like to use a little stem. Here we find a lot of flavor, a lot of aroma. Approximately almost 1/4 of a bundle. Also, of course, the spinach, this part that will give a lot of flavor, also helps to give a lot of color to the stew. Of liquid that I am going to add is going to be chicha de jora, approximately. I am going to add 1/2 cup. And on this side, I'm going to start sealing the meat part, and I'm going to make it a small saucepan. It is important to heat it for about 2 minutes. Add a little touch of oil, and we are going to seal the meat for about 3 to 4 minutes per side. The idea is that it is well browned, and then we are simply going to remove it. In the same pan is where we are going to make the dressing. For this, I am also going to add 2 cloves of grated garlic. You can add garlic paste, garlic powder if you wish. A touch of salt to make the onion sweat more easily. A little bit of pepper. And we are going to cook this dressing over low heat for about 4 or 5 minutes, always stirring constantly. We are already boiling this bean for 20 minutes. At this point, we are going to change the water so that it is not too heavy. And also, of course, we are going to add pork skin to give it a lot of flavor. And we are going to continue cooking it. We are not going to add any salt yet. Once we have the dressing at this point, here we are going to add the liquefied risilo. And with the dressing, we are going to have this for about 3 more minutes. We are also going to rescue what is left in the blender with a little bit of water. At this point, we return the meat that we had sealed at the beginning. Of course, we rectify the salt very well. Once we have it ready, we are going to cook it as it is the meat. Some meats are relatively a little bit hard. I'm going to cook it for 1 hour to 1 hour and 20 minutes so that the meat is completely tender. I'm also going to add yellow bell pepper. This gives a very peculiar flavor to this type of stew. and to give a better flavor to this. Beans, we are also going to add, of course, a touch of bacon. I'm going to do this separately. I'm going to make a small pan. We are going to add the onion, 2 cloves of garlic, pinch of salt, pepper, and I am also going to add the bacon directly. We are going to cook this dressing over very low heat for between 6 and 7 minutes over low heat. We will always be moving constantly so that it does not burn. We are also going to accompany it, of course, with salsa criolla. As all the red onion is a little bitter, we are going to let it rest in water for about 3 minutes. We are also going to add a touch of yellow chili. If you want a little more spice, I will also add a little more touch of aji limo, the 3 units of lemon. Of course, a touch of coriander is a must. To this dressing, I will also add about half a spoonful of oregano. Now yes, we are going to put this stew directly in the beans. And I am going to continue cooking for about 10 or 5 more minutes so that it integrates very well with the dressing. I'm cooking it for exactly 1 hour and 20 minutes, and generally we don't add any flour to it so that it has the texture that is typical of vegetables. At this point we turn off the fire and start serving, and this is how we get the texture of the bean. This is totally ready. Essential, of course, white rice. Let's put this bean, it's really very creamy. And on this little side, of course, we are going to serve our dry white sauce. To all the Creole sauce, we simply season with a touch of salt, a touch of pepper. And for this quantity, I'm going to squeeze the juice of 3 lemons. And to finish, of course, a touch of Creole sauce.
Well, people, let's start tasting, of course, our seco. I'm going to start with the meat. It's relatively soft since we cooked it for 1 hour and 20 minutes. Usually Creole food never disappoints. It is spectacular. The meat is super tender. It is also super juicy, of course. And the best thing about it is, of course, to combine it with beans, rice, Creole sauce that gives it that crunchy touch. And of course also our dry strip roast. Well friends, thanks for watching our video. I hope you liked the recipe. And you know that anything you want to add, let me know below in the comments. Take care and see you in a few days with a new video.